Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to our English lesson. Today we're learning to edit and improve. So you should now finish your hot task. Had the last couple of days to get it done. If you haven't quite finished your hot task, rather than moving on to today's lesson, go back and get that finished so it's all done and dusted. For those of you that are finished, we're going to move on to editing and improving today. Now, I know this is not our favourite step in the process, but it is an absolutely vital step to make sure the work we hand in is the best quality it can possibly be. So, let's have a look at our success criteria and remind ourselves what we were working towards. We were looking to show characteristics through physical description, show characteristics through actions, use interesting vocabulary, and use speech punctuation. Let's have a read through my work and then we can look for some success. "I shall sell the sun itself," cried Tiberius triumphantly, swishing his cape behind him. He walked off in the direction of Diana's temple. "The priests in the temple want to purchase such a fine item as a sun," he laughed to himself. "I will be rich." Tiberius went through the dusty streets of the small village. Whenever he saw someone standing at the edge of the road, he would accost them for oil. He cursed and venomously bemoaned anyone who failed to immediately provide him with the goods. Trampling small pets under his feet, Tiberius finally reached the large wooden doors at the entrance to Diana's temple. A sly smile crept across his scheming face. So, first thing I always do, pick the first success criteria and look for success. So the first success criteria is, where have I shown his characteristics, which is dishonest and vicious, through character description? And I think it's in this last sentence here. A sly smile crept across his scheming face. That sly smile tells you that he's a very dishonest smile, and he's got a scheming face. He's up to something. He's not a very reliable character. However, that's not a lot of good physical description, really, for the character, not in that amount of writing, so I'm going to have to make some improvements. So when I looked through it, I thought of these improvements. I changed the cape to oil-drenched, tattered cape. He's a dishonest character. He's down on his luck at this point because he's got all that blood that he can't get off him. So now that his cape is now covered in oil and it's tattered as well because of all the work he's doing. So that gives you a bit more description about the character, adds a bit more characteristics to them. The next success criteria was to show characteristics through actions. So I looked through and I think there's some quite good actions in here that show off he's a dishonest character. So I went for, straight away, trampling small pets under his feet. Remember, one of his characteristics is vicious, violent. Someone who tramples small pets under his feet is not the nicest, they're definitely a violent character. I've also gone for accosted them for oil. With accost mean you're asking, but more than just asking, you're almost demanding something from them. That's something a dishonest, vicious character would do. So I think there are two things there that show how his actions show him to be dishonest and vicious. But there can always be room for improvement. So when I looked through my work, I came up with these improvements. So rather than he walked off in the direction of Diana's temple, because walk's quite a boring verb, he forcefully stampeded off in the direction of Diana's temple. That tells you a bit more about him. He's really stomping, but he's doing it really energetically and violently because he's in such a rush to get there. I also changed a bit in the second paragraph. Rather than he saw someone, whenever he spied somebody. Again, if I'm looking for a dishonest character, spied just sounds slightly better than saw, doesn't it? So I've changed it that one. So now I'm quite happy with my success criteria here, that I've got a lot in here that shows characteristics through actions. So moving on, the next success criteria was to use good vocabulary. So the vocabulary that I picked out: triumphantly, accost, cursed, and venomously bemoaned. Now, I picked them because triumphantly, I think that's a really fantastic adverb to use here to show how excited he was at this point. He'd come up with the best idea ever to sell the sun. I love the word accost. I think it's a great way of saying you're demanding something from somebody. And I was really pleased with myself when I came up with cursed and venomously bemoaned. Venomously bemoaned, of course, means you're doing really horrible whinging and moaning at somebody. So I thought they were really good vocabulary. I'm really happy with those in my piece of work. But obviously there's always room for improvement. So I came up with these changes. So I've gone with the exquisite item in here now. Rather than just a fine item, I've got exquisite to really make it sound fantastic. Rather than him here, in the second paragraph, rather than having him spying someone standing, they're now lounging at the edge of the road. They're just kind of relaxing, sitting there, chilling out the side of the road. I thought that sounded like a better word than just standing. And right near the bottom, he reached the large wooden doors, has become the colossal wooden doors. It just sounds a bit better, doesn't it? Large wooden doors, colossal wooden doors. I think a temple sounds much more exciting with colossal wooden doors. Let's have a look at our final success criteria, which was to use speech punctuation. I found this speech punctuation I think has been used really well. I shall sell the sun itself, cried Tiberius triumphantly. I have my inverted commas around the speech with my punctuation in between that inverted commas. I have said how it's being said, who's saying it, and I'm putting an adverb to add a bit more information. So I think that's a really good use of speech. However, the next thing he says, I realised I made a mistake. I said, the priests in the temple want to purchase such an exquisite item as the sun. He laughed himself. I will be rich. That's split speech, but I've only remembered to put the speech punctuation on the second half of the split speech. So to make my improvements, I've now added in inverted commas around the first bit that he says. I also decided I wanted to make the add an adverb in after laughed, so he laughed maniacally to make it sound a bit more exciting and more of a kind of a dishonest, slightly going mad type of character. So I've made my improvements there with my speech punctuation. Finally then, putting all that together, I now have my finished work. It's pretty much the same as it was before, with just a couple of tweaks making it go from amazing to super fantastic. So today that's what I would like you to do. Take this opportunity to look through the success criteria, find your areas of success first. That's really important. You can highlight them, you can underline them, you can do whatever you want, but make sure you find your areas of success and then go through and see all those little tweaks and changes based on the success criteria. Can you show some more physical description for the character? Can you show his actions? Can you put better vocabulary in there? And have you made sure that all of your speech punctuation is perfect? So I'm looking forward to see how you get on with your editing today.